Hey, what's up YouTube? It's Techie here with another video for you. This time on the brand new Apple Watch Series 4. I wanted to dive in, talk to you all about what I think, what my opinions are on the new watch launch, as well as the state of Android watches currently. What are they doing, where are they going, and what do I foresee for them in the future since it is becoming so competitive. Let's get started. So I'm just going to be going through some of the new features on here, reacting to them and what I think about them, and really just the state of smartphone watches or smartwatches right now. They are seeming to be the next big thing. Are they going to be? So the new Apple Watch Series 4 comes in two variants, the 40mm and the 44mm. So you're talking about, anywhere from 30-ish% larger to what's it, like 32 on the other one. They come in roughly the same colors they used to. They look great. They have a lot going on for them. They have a ton of new features. There's some new complications. There's like a new breathe complication where every time you lift your wrist, it reminds you to breathe. I personally hated those breathe reminders. They, if anything, caused me more stress. And I never could match my breathing up to the app, and it would I don't know. Battery is gonna be good. This is the first watch with a 64-bit processor. So one interesting feature that I kind of wish my Gear S3 Frontier actually has this or not, to be honest. I've never experienced it so far. I've only been using it for the last month or so since I got my Note 9. And one really interesting feature is the low heart rate detection as well as the high heart rate detection. It sort of looks at what your normal is and what the normal is for people overall, and it will notify you if it sees or detects that your heart rate is above or below a certain level, if it's at a dangerous level. And one time, for instance, earlier this year, basically was not sure what the heck was happening to me. Well, I woke up in the morning and at 8:30 in the morning, my watch, buzzed off, and it told me that my heart rate was too high and that I wasn't moving. And I, finally went to the emergency room and got, the test, and I was wondering why I was feeling so under the weather. And I'm not saying I went because of my Apple Watch. I'm just saying I was really relieved and intrigued that my Apple Watch was able to detect something a little bit before I was. And that is just the beginning of such a bright tech future, I think. And I don't know if my Gear S3 Frontier has that feature. Maybe it does, but I have yet to experience that, and let's hope I don't have to. I do find it really interesting that Apple, as well as some other companies like Samsung, have been granted sort of this modern FDA approval that will allow them to skip some of the regulatory hurdles and get technology out faster to consumers. I think this is, again, just the start of some really cool tech that's coming. Hopefully privacy stays important for all manufacturers here, since you're dealing with really personal information. One bummer about the new Apple Watches was that they cost more. The previous watches started at $329 and $369, and so those are up from $329 for the smaller model all the way up to $399, and it's up from $369 up to $429. And so both of those have gotten a price increase, as have the higher end models of the iPhone. The S has a 512 capacity model that is $200 more expensive than the previous most expensive iPhone 10, and the 10s Plus is also, I think, $300 more expensive than the previous most expensive iPhone 10 was. And so the prices on some of this tech is just too much. You're talking about thousands of dollars. And if you're someone like me, who for such a long time used to upgrade all of their tech every single year, that is just becoming impossible with the new prices of phones and the new prices of all of these post-PC devices that we are all using in our day-to-day. And so really, I've had this thing since my S8 days, put it away in a box, brought it back out when I got my Note 9. And honestly, I love it. It does everything I needed to for now, and I'm excited to see what some of the newer Galaxy watches, not the one that just came out, since I don't really think that much changed, but ones in the future, say next year or the year after, to see what Samsung and the rest of the competition does. So next I want to go over the Qualcomm event that happened just a week and a half or 2 weeks ago, depending depending on when you're watching this, it'll definitely be longer than that. But yeah, Qualcomm came out with a new chipset, and I think they were just a little too late. They probably had no idea what Apple was doing, because Apple completely ran laps around anything that Qualcomm just released and announced. Now, that's not to say that they aren't doing a decent job at playing catch up, but it's gonna take a lot of engineering effort, and I would say cohesiveness between the competitors and manufacturers of other smartwatches. They need to get their head in the game and figure out exactly what consumers care about and put in the effort, energy, and meticulousness that Apple does do. They freaking put an EKG or an ECG in there. They put all of this amazing technology and package it in such a nice device. I love this watch, but I have to say it's a little bit clunky. Kudos to Samsung for still making a great watch that has a pretty great battery life in here. It's a decently big battery, and I have always on display on this thing, and so it's really nice not having to constantly lift my wrist just to see the time. If I'm carrying something or if I'm doing something, I can just glance down and the time is right there to greet me without me having to do a wake-up gesture like you do on the Apple Watches. And so that is one feature I would love Apple to implement. Let's just keep the competition as strong as possible. Google Wear devices and Galaxy wearable devices and all of these different competitors need to just do a better job at competing against what I think is the current reigning champion, which is the Apple Watch. Next thing, the Apple Watch also can detect falls. I can see that driving such a ton of sales this coming holiday season and into 2019. People are going to look at their parents and loved ones and really start to think about what could happen if, etc., and run out and buy everyone these nice new 32% larger Apple Watches for their loved ones. And I think the competition is missing out on what is about to be an incredible holiday season for Apple if they aren't checked by some extremely out of the blue competitor announcement that I don't see coming, but we'll see. It can detect if you've fallen forward, if you've fallen backwards, or I think there's a third kind of fall that it also detects. And if you remain motionless, God forbid, for a minute, it will actually go ahead and ring emergency services as well as reach out to your in case of emergency contacts if you have set those up to send out text messages alerting that there is a possible emergency situation that has unfortunately occurred. There's no current feature like this on any of the competitor devices, and I think it's incredible that Apple discovered a need and discovered a gap in what was out there and what people didn't even realize they needed help with. And I think it's going to be so incredible for not only their sales, but just for people's health and wellness. You never know what could happen and when it could happen. Thankfully, I'm 22 years old and I have my health, and so I'm not like super worried about this right now. And I think the competition can absolutely respond with their own versions of these same technologies. Samsung probably is best equipped, Google is best equipped to be able to respond to these competitors. I don't know that they're going to. I don't know they're going to do it fast enough or well enough or be able to package it all in a tiny, nice form factor, or be able to charge a premium the way that Apple does. We shall see. I wish the best for competitors because we can't just have one reigning champion and then everyone not even meeting, half mask in that situation. So yeah, in the new smartwatch event, they basically announced new chips. In this case, it's the Wear 3100 chip. So going into some deep diving tech here, it looks like the main processor really hasn't changed at all, but it's the co-processor, that lower power, high efficiency processor that handles lower level tasks, not the main user interaction, not notifications, or maybe notifications, but just lower level stuff that doesn't take away as much energy. Several times more efficient to be able to animate the second hand, which is why, if you've noticed, a lot of watch faces, not on the Apple Watch, but a lot of watch faces on Android Wear and Galaxy devices don't have a second hand because it just took up way too much power and too much energy from the device, and so that would come as a sacrifice to the battery you got on that just to be able to animate that. And so it's nice that they are looking at some of the more basic features, but I really would like them to go a step and above. I would like Google to go a step and above. They have such an incredibly amazing Google Assistant, which totally outclasses Siri in so many ways, that I think if they just designed a watch more around those user interactions, the way we use our devices, what we need, and add in those important health functionalities, I think that we will be looking at a mainstay and a good competitor to what Apple's offering. And I hope they can do that. So yeah, that's it for this video. Let me know what you think. Leave a thumbs up if you liked it. That other button seems to work okay too. Let me know if you have the new Apple Watches. Let me know if you have a previous generation Apple Watch. I myself was coming from a Series 3. If I had stayed on the Apple ecosystem, I'd probably be drooling right now, figuring out how I can get the pre-order and worrying about all that. I'm kind of glad I'm not on the Apple ecosystem, because I'm not about to spend another $400 on a watch for some of the features that it has. And it's beautiful. I am glad that I don't feel the need to buy one since I'm not in that ecosystem. So yeah, I would totally appreciate if you subscribe to my channel. I'll put out new videos as often as possible. Again, my name is Emilio and my channel is Tech E. Like I said, that's it for this video. See you all in the next one. Let me know what you think. Bye.